Good afternoon. Welcome to the Omni Coalition News Show, aka TOCNS. The show's an amalgam of strange, weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, and otherwise things you don't normally see anymore from most news sources these days. During a time of political overabundance and divisiveness, we present you with more unifying topics to discuss for the most part. For links to those articles, the music done by Carrera, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Xander, and today is Tuesday, aka Tears Day, also known as Tuesday, December 6, 2022. Alright, let's jump into the news, shall we? From Rebel News, we have Elon Musk, Wikipedia has a non-trivial left-wing basis. Alright, says here, Wikipedia, the crowdsourced encyclopedia, is voting to delete its entry on the Twitter files. Last week, Elon Musk journalist Matt Taibbi released the first batch of emails detailing collusion between the Biden campaign and Twitter under its previous regime. Former Twitter executive Vijaya Gadde, who headed the company's legal, policy, and trust department, played a key role in the story's suppression, and that Twitter worked alongside the Biden campaign to censor content on the platform. As it was detailed on Twitter, Wikipedia is voting on the deletion of a page covering the topic because its editors have deemed it a nothing burger, with many claiming that the story isn't notable because mainstream media outlets did not provide it with a significant coverage. One editor called the release a self-published blog post with a grandiose title, lacking significant coverage in reliable sources. If relevant discourse relating to the blog post could be covered under the laptop page. That was a quote, referring to the site's entry on Hunter Biden's laptop. This was generally ignored by the media with good reason and thus failed to establish notability, end quote, wrote another editor. Elon Musk, who now owns Twitter, replied and asked Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales for a response. So, here we go. And I believe I accidentally covered the entire article, so I am sorry. Whoever wrote this, Ian Miles Cheong. Please, viewers, still go to the link in the underbar of the description for this article. Give them the foot traffic. They put in the work. I'm just reading this. But this is very interesting. And I already knew about Wikipedia being a leftist organization because there are things I've heard and whatnot, various videos and, talking with various people about them, going in and changing things, retroactively and whatnot, pushing things more towards one side of a bias. Anyway, actually that was not the top story today, but let's go on over here. It says here, more from Rebel News, talking more about Elon Musk here. Elon Musk's Neuralink under investigation by Biden administration over alleged animal welfare law violations. Alright. The Biden administration has launched a federal investigation into Elon Musk's Neuralink over allegations that the company may have violated federal animal welfare laws. Musk, who serves as Neuralink's CEO, has been under fire for his takeover of Twitter and his decision to release the Twitter files detailing the Biden's campaign's collusion with the social media platform to censor coverage of Hunter Biden's laptop ahead of the 2020 presidential election. Neuralink is a company dedicated to developing, quote, ultra-high bandwidth brain-machine interfaces to connect humans and computers, end quote, per its website. So yeah, basically making humans literally hackable. It says here, according to Reuters, an investigation was launched by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Inspector General following a request by a federal prosecutor. The report claims that the investigation into Neuralink revolves around potential violations of the Animal Welfare Act, which, quote, regulates the treatments of animals in research, teaching, testing, exhibition, transport, and by dealers, end quote. So yeah, we got another quote here. Neuralink treats animals quite well compared to other research facilities, end quote, Reuters reported. According to interviews with Neuralink researchers and employees, company executives have gone on record to talk about building a monkey Disneyland for their test subjects at one facility, allowing them to live in relative comfort. Another location constructed a monkey Taj Mahal for simian test subjects in waiting. So that's really interesting, but still, as I keep saying, Elon Musk is not a man of the people. He's just a political pawn. He's a dancing monkey on the stage. Essentially. Same with Trump. Same with, Kanye West. They're all just actors on the stage. That's all they are. Good little puppets. So, and if you don't believe me, somebody, I've never had anybody say anything that Okay, let me explain something. Someone like Elon Musk, with his power and influence and everything, I mean, like, the guy sent one tweet and completely tanked the cryptocurrency market for a short amount of time. Someone of that wealth of influence, of public known and notoriety and all that stuff, if they're not playing with the powers that be, then he'd be Epsteined, real quick. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on here. More from Rebel News. Liberals did no consultations on last-minute hunting gun ban. According to the ministry's response to the order paper question posed by Conservative MP Raquel Dancho, the most recent stakeholder engagement in the sweeping new firearms legislation was done in late 2018, long before the May 2020 ban on 1,500 popular models of shotguns and rifles orchestrated through an order in council. The last so-called engagement took place nearly 4 years prior to the recent handgun ban added to the C-21, as well as the last-minute addition of 478 pages of amendments that would serve to ban all center-fire semi-automatic rifles and the majority of Canadian shotguns. The in-person engagement skipped over Western Canada entirely. Wow. Not surprising at all, but wow. It says here, though experts, hunters, and sport shooters have said Trudeau's latest ban attacks hunting rifles, Trudeau called those claims misinformation, of course. Misinformation. Buzzword. Bleh. Buzzword. That's all it is. So, anyway, speaking of Mr. Buzzword, Rebel News, federal audit finds Trudeau government gave away billions in ineligible funds through CERB. What is that? CERB? It says here why can't I get rid of that? Hold on a second. There we go. It says here, a report tabled by Auditor General Karen Hogan determined that the Trudeau Liberals overpaid emergency response benefits by billions. Report 10, specific COVID-19 benefits, details that the Canadian Revenue Agency, CRA, and Employment and Social Development Canada, ESDC, effectively delivered COVID-19 emergency relief subsidies to Canadians affected by government-sanctioned lockdowns, yet payouts were billions more than what they should have been. In order to act swiftly at the beginning of the pandemic hysteria, the government relied on self-submitted applications and limited prepayment controls to expedite payments to Canadians through programs such as the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, CERB. Okay, so that's what CERB is. Ms. Hogan found that this resulted in overpayments of $4.6 billion paid to ineligible individuals, with an estimated $27.4 billion needing further investigation. Good heavens. I'm going to read this next paragraph here, and then I'll let you guys go to the article itself and continue on your own. A breakdown of some discrepancies needing investigation shows that $1.6 million went to individuals who quit their jobs, $4.6 million went to duplicate payments, $6.1 million went to people who were in jail for the benefit period, $3.3 million went to those not residing in Canada at the time, $2.2 million went to those under the age of 15, and $1.2 million went to deceased Canadians. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't want to smack my poor snowman in the face, Poor snowman. My goodness. This is ridiculous. Every day, I get more and more flabbergasted at the lunacy of everything here. Anyway, let's continue on. More and more from Rebel News. Liberals won't say where CCP police stations are or when the government first became aware of them. Actually, before we get into this, though, I have recently made a friend who apparently Canada does have a program that financially helps or does some kind of help to people who've had adverse effect to the poke, so at least there's that, but, they have it in place, but who's even going to be able to get those benefits? So there's that question too, but at least they have something in place, so that's good. Thank you for that information, Mr. Drogan. Anyway, it says here, Chinese-operated police stations have been reported in Vancouver and Toronto. Spain-based non-governmental organization Safeguard Defenders says it used open-source statements from People's Republic of China authorities, China's police, and state media to find the Canadian locations and dozens of others around the world. I've talked about this too before. There are alleged to be 5 such installations in Canada. According to a Public Safety Canada response to an inquiry of the ministry, there is at least one open investigation into the CCP-run police stations in Toronto. Quote, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police is investigating reports of criminal activity in relation to the so-called police stations. As the RCMP is currently investigating the incident, there is no further comment at this time, end quote. Rebel News' David Menzies visited the suspected site of one of these Chinese outlets. Protesters have demonstrated in front of the Chinese consulate in Toronto against what they say are illegal surveillance and intimidation practices based out of the locations. Yes. So, and then the article ends here, so I'll just end this article. Sorry, author. The Chinese government claims these satellite police stations are used to provide services like driver's license renewals to Chinese expats. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on up more from Rebel News. Human rights organization says it found 2 new Chinese police stations in Canada. So we're continuing on in the same subject matter here. A new report published by the Spain-based non-governmental organization Safeguard Defenders titled Patrol and Persuade, a follow-up on 110 overseas investigation, found that the Chinese Communist Party hosts at least 48 newly discovered police stations overseas, 2 of which are in Canada. This brings the total number of known Chinese police stations in Canada up to 5. So this must have been written at around the same time. Is this the same writer? No. So I guess they were talking with each other. That would make sense. So, quote, the vast majority of the newly documented stations have been set up starting in 2016 by 2 newly discovered local Chinese jurisdictions, Nantong and Wenzhou, end quote, the report says. Safeguard Defenders found that a Chinese police station in Paris, France, has been conducting an illegal persuasion to return program. Quote, this is in addition to already exposed operations in Spain and Serbia, end quote, the report adds. According to the organization, the discovery contradicts the claim made by the Chinese government that the stations were only serving administrative purposes. Yep. So, yeah, go ahead, go to this article. There's more here, so. But nothing new for me, at least, you know. Let's move on up here. More from Rebel News. British County to introduce traffic filter scheme, which will prevent citizens from free movement. Oh, wonderful. Here we go. On last night's episode of the Ezra Levant Show, Ezra discussed how Oxfordshire County in the UK has approved a traffic filter scheme to limit when and where residents are permitted to drive their cars. As stated by Ezra, quote, traffic filter, that sounds good. Sounds like maybe they're cleaning the air or something. No, they're filtering out you. You're the dirt they're filtering, end quote. He went on to say, quote, to stop most drivers, just to stop them, not sure what the 6.5 million quid is for. And of course, don't you worry, it's only for unnecessary journeys. I think you yourself are a good judge of what is necessary and what isn't, but no longer. But don't you worry your pretty little head. That decision will be now made for you by the government, end quote. Here we go. Yep. So, people have got to start standing up, you know. People have really got to start standing up. This is getting ridiculous. And then one last article here from Rebel News. Ontario school boards given millions in taxpayer dollars to solicit the gender identification of young children. Good Lord. Ontario taxpayers funded a multi-million-dollar identity-based census access to information documents show. An email sent on behalf of Patrick Case, who makes $208,294 per year, working as the Assistant Deputy Minister and Education Equity Secretariat, detailed the 2021-22 funding for student demographic data projects. His email reads, quote, I'm writing to update you on the 2021-22 PPF funding for demographic data gathering. We are aware that many boards have collected or are in the process of collecting student demographic data, and other boards have yet to engage in this work. As this work expands in boards across the province, the benefits of student demographic data to school boards' efforts to identify and dismantle systematic barriers are evident. As a foundation for board improvement and equity planning, all boards are expected to be in the process of collecting voluntary student demographic data by September 2022. Yeah. So, I'll just read the rest of the email here. To support its focus, 2021-22 PPF for demographic data gathering will be student demographic data collection and or analysis projects only. Given that boards are at different stages in the student demographic data process, the ministry will be differentiating the level of funding available to boards as follows. $55,000 if your board has not previously received funding for a student demographic data project. $35,000 for other boards, end quote. So, and the article continues on from there, but I'm going to let you go there and read it yourself. So, but using taxpayer dollars to push the agenda to segregate people based off of these different demographics. There's one demographic, humanity. We're all one. Why are they pushing so hard to segregate us? You know? Let's move on up here from Oddity Central. Skinny woman breaks 4 ribs while coughing. Well, that brings up several questions. One, like, how bad was she coughing? Is she okay? Like, does she have, like, you know, like, pneumonia or something? Like, that's some insane coughing. But number 2, you gotta have body fat, you know? Like, one of my aunts is you know, a little out there. She thinks that she can lose weight. The woman is a stick. She's unhealthily skinny. But, yeah. It says here, a young Chinese woman recently ended up in the hospital with multiple broken ribs after a coughing fit caused by eating spicy food. Well, that would cause it. If you've ever eaten something spicy, you already know that it can cause a bit of coughing, as I said. What you probably didn't know is that in extreme cases, spicy food-induced coughing can actually cause bone fractures. Case in point, a Chinese woman from Shanghai who, because of being too skinny and having poorly developed musculature, broke no less than 4 ribs while coughing because of spicy food. The woman, surnamed Huang, told doctors in her native city of Shanghai that she was eating spicy food, which at one point caused her to start coughing. I believe I'm reading the same thing multiple different ways here. During a particularly strained cough, the young woman allegedly heard a sharp crack from her chest area and immediately began to experience pain when breathing and trying to speak. Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, no, you gotta have some body fat on you. You have to. Like, and I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity, like, you know, in the world. Like, me being in the United States, you know, it's very easy for me to say, oh, just eat more, you know, but, like, you know, well, let this be a lesson. If you're skinny, don't eat spicy foods, because you might break something. You might actually hurt yourself beyond just the spice. So, let's move on up here from the Mirror. 9 members of brawling family jailed after 50-person bloodbath fight at wedding. Wow. Jesus, this guy is the most messed up out of all of them. Like, he has a stitch, he has a band-aid, he's just covered in blood. This guy has little specks. Everybody else here, though, they look relatively okay. It says here, 9 members of the same family were jailed after a 50-person bloodbath brawl at a wedding. The massive brawl cost £18,000 worth of damage at the Derricksbury Park Hotel in Cheshire and left the walls covered in blood and glass. Ooh. The Stokes family waded into the violence, which saw some guests barricade themselves into a function room in a desperate attempt to stay safe. The fight broke out at around 11:15 p.m. on June 26, 2019 at the Hotel and Spa in Warrington, so this is old. John Stokes at the age of 23, John Stephen Stokes, 27, Stephen Stokes, 25, Brian Stokes, 25, Edward Joseph Stokes, 21, Thomas Stokes, 30, Edward William Stokes, 28, and Terry Stokes, 36, were jailed for the mayhem. So, yeah, but this is somewhat old news, so I don't know why they're digging this up. This was back when 2019, so this is over 3 years old. Alright. Anyway, let's move on. More from the Mirror. Martin Lewis, word of warning to anybody using air fryers or microwaves instead of ovens. So let's see here. Martin Lewis has issued an urgent warning to households who use air fryers or microwaves instead of ovens. Spike, pay attention. The money-saving expert has informed families that have ditched their oven for air fryers like the Ninja and Tower, saying that they may actually be costing more for them to run. The promise said that these appliances are more economical than using an oven may not be the case for all foods, Martin Lewis has warned. He has now urged families to think twice before ditching their more traditional appliances when they are trying to save cash, reports the Manchester Evening News. Who is joined? Oh, hey, welcome to the show, Muffin. It continues on here. He has now urged families to... Oh, yeah, I already wrote that. Speaking on this latest podcast, the money expert advised people on what to use when cooking. So, yeah, that is interesting. So, yeah, do your homework when you want to do air frying. It might actually be better to just actually use an oven or a microwave. So, I know one of my friends has an air fryer, and he uses that to cook his chicken nuggets and whatnot. So, but yeah, no, if you really are, like, you know, all about that, you know, being economical stuff and all that whatnot. Did he miss... Oh, no, I'm missing an eyeball. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Can you pick it up? Like, the string's there, but the bead is gone. I gotta get a new one. This guy has both of his eyes, though. So. But no. If you got the air fryer because you really want to be economical, or if money really is a factor, which I understand that position very well, you really got to start nickel and diming everything. Count your pennies. So, look into this. We're gonna move on up here from UPI, better known as UPI. Padres Musgrove breaks world record for fastest pitch in Antarctica. All right. The San Diego Padres all-star pitcher Joe Musgrove traveled to Antarctica to celebrate his 30th birthday and break a Guinness World Record. Musgrove, accompanied by fellow Padres pitcher Sean Mania and a team from the Challenged Athletes Foundation, traveled to the coldest continent in a bid to set the Guinness World Record for the fastest baseball pitch thrown in Antarctica. Well, this is interesting.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Says here,
that's cool.
Yeah, Musgrove's goal was to throw an 80-mile-per-hour pitch, and after a few warm-ups, he was able to exceed his goal to set the record at 86 miles per hour on Friday, 2 days before his celebrated 30th birthday in Antarctica. The pitcher's companions from the Challenged Athletes Foundation, which provides support for athletes with physical challenges, including Landis Sims, a teenage baseball player born without hands or feet. Okay. I don't know how you can play baseball with that handicap, but all right. Roderick Sewell, the first person with double above-knee amputations to finish the Ironman World Championship, and Justin Fonsgavana, a bronze medalist at the Tokyo Paralympic Games for the javelin throw. All right, that's pretty cool. You know? So, yeah. And I know someone out in San Diego, so they probably think this is a really cool thing. So
yes.
We're gonna move on up here more from UPI. Idaho man hands up 5 T-shirts to break Guinness World Record. What does that mean?
In 5 T-shirts?
Hands up. I think they meant hang up. So yeah, because I see hangers here. It says
man,
here
hands up.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
It says here, an Idaho man with more than 250 Guinness World Records titles added another record to his name by hanging up 5 T-shirts in 16.78 seconds. Okay.
Oh, wow.
They really have a record for literally everything, don't they?
They had to pull something.
Wow. David Rush, well, what a fitting name there, Rush, who broke Guinness World Records to promote STEM education, said it took some extra planning to make sure he was following all of the record-keeping organization's rules for the fastest time to hang up 5 T-shirts. Rush said his first obstacle came when he discovered the neck openings of his own shirts were too large for Guinness regulations, so he turned to his wife's T-shirts as a replacement. He then discovered his hangers were too short and had to replace with longer ones to comply with the rules. Rush successfully hung up the 5 shirts in 16.78 seconds, beating the record of 27.93 seconds set by Kaito Koizumi of Japan in 2015. So, all right. I guess we're number 1 in hanging up shirts again. USA! USA!
Yes, sir.
I mean, hell, when that Japanese guy, defeated what's-his-face at the hot dog eating championships... Oh, my heart, my soul. How can we let such an atrocity occur? A Japanese out-Americaning an American? How dare you?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on up here more from UPI. Nativity scene displayed at Iowa Bank could break 2 Guinness World Records. All right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a big nativity scene behind him right there. So... Says here, a collection of 2,539 nativity scenes currently on display at an Iowa bank could break 2 Guinness World Records. The Hills Bank in Washington is currently hosting the display of 2,539 different nativity scenes, a collection belonging to Michael Zaz. Zaz said he has been collecting the nativity scenes since the late 1950s, and they come from more than 100 different countries. He said it took about 6 weeks to set all of the scenes up at the bank. Wow. So 2 months. So that's 1/6 of the year to set this up. That's insane.
Yeah.
Says, quote, I like to have people come and look at the details. You can look at the exhibit for the scripture part of it. You can look at it for the materials, the artwork. Much of these are handmade. Some of them are very historical, end quote, Zaz told KCRG TV. So, that's cool. I'd like to go check this out. This is Iowa, though. I ain't going to get out there. So, I can see behind him. That's a lot of nativity scenes. So
expensive too.
Yeah, I have a black nativity scene with like a little black baby Jesus. I don't know where it is, but I have pictures of it. So yeah. Anyway, for our last but not least here, from AP News, driver gets $553 ticket for driving with snow on his windshield. Well, he should get his license suspended. Number one. Says here, Washington State Patrol trooper issued a $533 ticket to a driver Sunday after the person drove more than 5 miles or 8 kilometers with their vehicle and windshield almost completely covered in snow. Why? Says here, trooper Heather Weatherwax. What a name, Weatherwax? Oh God. Said the State Patrol received a report about the person driving erratically along SR-16 south of Bremerton. When pulled over, the driver reportedly told the trooper that the windshield wipers weren't working, Weatherwax said. The driver received a $533 ticket for second-degree negligent driving. Weatherwax urged people to remove all snow from vehicles before hitting the road. Yes? Like, rule one of driving, you gotta see where you're going,
You want to drive with the snow in front of me?
Yeah.
I can see through.
Spoken like a true Californian.
Straight that.
Yeah. But that is nuts. That is absolutely... Why would you, not at least, brush it off, Or
at least move the snow or something?
Yeah. And the thing is covered in snow. So, how do you not... come on.
Yeah.
That just stupid. Just flat out stupid. So... Anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of different, odd, and otherwise unknown news, we stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Eastern, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
And the Muffin Man.
Yep. And you, of course, are you. And until you catch us tomorrow, or if you're interested in history, we do a history show every single day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. Anyway, until then, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Let's go, Brandon.
Ha! Yeah.